Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to decode the hidden language of turrets. Now, you probably see them as just weapons, right? But if you look a little closer, you'll find they're an absolute masterclass in industrial design where every single shape tells a story. Okay, let's just dive right in with this core idea. A turret is so much more than a gun platform. It's really a statement of purpose, it's a solution to a super complex physics problem, and, believe it or not, it's a tool of psychological warfare. All of that is sculpted into one single functional object. So when you see this incredible variety of shapes, you've got these heavy, rounded domes on one hand, and then these sharp, almost diamond-like structures on the other, the real question becomes, what story is each one of these designs actually telling you? And that is exactly what we're going to do today, teach you how to read the intent behind every angle, every bolt, every single component. Because in the world of turret design, form doesn't just follow function, it literally broadcasts it. So, let's start at the very beginning, with the fundamental, and frankly, kind of pretty brutal puzzle of turret design, this whole idea of building from the inside out. At its heart, a turret's job is actually pretty simple. It's to aim something, a weapon, a camera, whatever, without having to turn the entire vehicle it's bolted to. But, and this is a big but, achieving that simple goal creates some absolutely immense design constraints. Now this reveals something fascinating. Turret design completely flips conventional product design on its head. Think about a car, where you design a beautiful shell and then fit all the components inside. A turret is the total opposite. You have to start with the violent mechanics of the gun and its recoil, then you wrap the ammo feed and the crew around that, and only then, only at the very end, do you shrink wrap an armored shell over the whole thing. This core inside-out challenge has really led to two dominant and visually completely opposite design philosophies that have defined different eras of warfare. So on one side, you have what we call brutalism, which basically communicates its strength through raw, unapologetic mass. And on the other side, you've got stealth, which prioritizes invisibility, using all this clever geometry to basically trick enemy sensors. The brutalist style, which you see on classic tanks like the T-55, it just feels heavy and powerful because it's not hiding anything. You can literally see the rough texture from the cast metal and the big, heavy welds. And those rounded shapes, they aren't for style. They're there for one reason, to make incoming shells just glance right off. And in complete contrast, you have modern stealth designs like the PL-01. Here, everything, and I mean everything, is about avoiding detection. Those sharp, flat angles are designed to bounce radar waves away from the source, kind of like skipping a stone on water. It creates this clean, almost abstract shape that can turn into a ghost on the battlefield. So ultimately, these are two totally different conversations. The brutalist design is screaming, "Come on, I can take a hit," while the stealth design is whispering, "You will never even see me." But this intense focus on heavy armor, whether you can see it or not, it brings up a really important question, one that leads us straight to our next major design philosophy. What happens when you decide to prioritize flexibility over everything else? Well, that very question leads us to a completely different approach, one driven by the modern need for speed, adaptability, and mission-specific loadouts. We're talking about the Lego architecture. This is the Lego philosophy, and you can see it in systems like the Hornet RWS. Instead of one solid armored shell, you have this open, almost skeletal frame. The design is often asymmetrical because, hey, you might have a heavy missile pod on one side and just a light machine gun on the other. And all those exposed bolts and latches, they're not flaws. They're actually a feature. They're signaling that this is a tool that can be reconfigured right there in the field. All right, so moving beyond the overall shape, one of the most character-defining features of any turret is how it sees the world. We're talking about the sensors that give the machine its face. And this is a really key insight. In consumer products, we often try to get perfect symmetry. But in military hardware, perfect symmetry can actually look fake because real-world function almost always demands an asymmetrical layout. A fantastic example of this functional asymmetry is the hunter-killer concept. So the gunner has a sight that's locked with the barrel, right? But the commander has a totally separate panoramic sight up on the roof that can scan for targets independently. This creates the look of a two-headed creature, with one head searching around while the other is locked onto a target. It gives the machine this terrifyingly lifelike quality.
This design choice just highlights a crystal clear difference in intent. A military gaze is designed to be intimidating. It's got these fragile lenses recessed deep inside armored hoods, which creates this squinting, super aggressive look. A civilian security robot, on the other hand, does the exact opposite. It'll hide its cameras behind soft fabric or smoked glass to appear as approachable and non-threatening as possible.
So where does turret design even go from here? Well, new technology is creating a radical and frankly kind of alien new aesthetic for the future.
Get this, future turrets won't be designed by humans alone. We're talking about AI-driven generative design algorithms that are creating these hyper-efficient, organic-looking shapes. The AI starts with a solid block of material and just carves away every single gram that isn't absolutely essential for strength. What you get back looks more like bird bones or muscle tissue than machine parts. The whole aesthetic feels like it's grown, not built.
And this brings us to a really radical shift. The one feature that makes a turret instantly look like a weapon is about to disappear. As lasers and directed energy weapons start to replace projectiles, that long, iconic barrel is just going to vanish. It'll be replaced by a much smaller, almost telescope-like beam director. And this leaves us with a final, really provocative thought. What does a weapon look like when it has no barrel? The turret of the future may not look like a weapon at all. It might look more like a camera or a complex sensor, or maybe something entirely new that we can't even imagine yet. The language of design is always evolving, and it feels like the next chapter is just getting started.